Happy Devils Wednesday. This is State of the Fan Address, episode 289. Yes, 289er. Is there a niner in there? Did you say niner? Streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, X Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with PucksandPitchforks.com's editor-in-chief, Nick Villano. Talking Devils hockey. Another day, another Devils injury. Sorry for the negativity, but we give you an unfiltered, opinionated type of programming. Notice I use programming, not the C word, Nick. Yeah, that's right. As watching Nick just groove to the tune. The tunes on this fine programming. Nick, help me out here. I was trying to kind of feeding to talk.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were kind of. I thought you were setting yourself up for something, so I was letting you finish.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
Sorry.
I
was trying to. Right. I feel like I cut you off all the time. You were talking about the C word, and usually there's a rant after that. So I was letting you get your piece out.
My 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, what a game last night. It's the Devils have now gotten 2 governors to respond to their games this year. They got the governor of North Carolina to respond to a Devils Hurricanes game.
He was trolling.
And, yeah, but, I mean, still. And then you got Phil Murphy. I feel like Phil Murphy has his hands full. We don't have to get into it, but I feel like he has his hands full. I didn't think he'd be watching hockey. But said yesterday was one of the best shootouts he ever seen. So he Devils are the team of governors. The New Jersey Governors. That's probably, it's probably not a name you want.
Do you think it'd be controversial if I got Phil Murphy, Governor Murphy, on this programming?
So back when we used to have guests, and I'm not saying we won't have guests again, but I have tried to get politicians on. It's always very hard. I could get
Phil on. We're on a first name basis.
So interestingly enough, we've been very open about trying to get Jeff Vanderbeek on the podcast.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And he was working for the Republican nominee's treasury. It was like in his treasury, like the head of the treasury for the Republican nominee. His name's escaping me in the last election. So we were gonna, I was trying to talk to him about that, but the talks kind of failed. We did connect on LinkedIn randomly, so I am connected on LinkedIn to Jeff Vanderbeek, former New Jersey Devils owner. But I've tried to get Cory Booker on, just to talk about, because he was the mayor of Newark during all the opening of the Prudential Center and all of that. And now, just talk about the importance of sports to state economies and stuff like that. I thought it'd just be a really interesting conversation. And then I was going to try to get the mayor of Newark this year on, but it just, again, these things, it's hard to get schedules aligned. We are on 1 hour a week, and it's at 8:30 on a Wednesday. So it's a very, I get it. We've lost a lot of guests just because of that. Just trying to schedule around our schedule. It's hard. It's a lot of these podcasts can air whenever, and we have a live. To tell you the truth,
we've never had a politician on, I don't think. But if there's one that we probably would get on, and he's a Rangers fan, it's probably Chris Christie, only because he does a lot of WFAN. He's a board member on the New York Mets, and he's actually my friend's neighbor. That would be my win.
I mean, that's funny. He was just on the Jon Stewart podcast. I was listening to that. So he does them. He's out there. I just don't know if he would see the. He was on Jon Stewart because he was trying to promote a charity. So and then here's the game. for most of our guests, I provide a opportunity to promote their articles or their podcasts or their videos or their TV show. You know, it's an opportunity to reach our audience.
Yeah.
While I think in my head that a politician would want that, it's never been an easy sell. Maybe I have to revise the pitch.
To
But
tell
you're
you the
also
truth,
like,
sorry, I was interrupting. Go ahead.
no, I was going to say you're not pitching to them directly. You're pitching to their team. You know, and they're as somebody who's worked on that team. I've been on those teams before. You have to like I'm coming into this with a no. You have to convince me of a yes. While most other people, you're going into it neutrally, and then you have to get to a yes. So it's easier to go from here to here than it's to go from here to here. You know, just obvious things. But sorry, what were you saying?
No, believe it or not, I just realized it right now because Shane Van Sickle's like, can we get Christina Todd Whitman? It's weird because I happen to know people that are very close to them that I could at least get the question if they would or not.
Right.
That's as far as I could go. Most of the times they just say no or you don't hear back or whatever or they're not interested or whatever. But we're just talking about just like New Jersey governors. I didn't realize it because, actually, I have a close friend that actually produced Governor Murphy's show, the state of the governor show. I forgot what it's called. It's in Newark where they do it. So, but anyway, well, I would only bring him on for, and again, no politics. I would bring him on just like for like, behind the scenes stuff because, when you're getting new arenas done, like what happened with the new arena, back in 2007, moving to Newark, you had Sharp James and then Cory Booker. Cory Booker was a frequent, guest at the Prudential Center early on when the building opened up. Like, I would love to hear stories that's Devils related, construction
or even sports related.
Or when Cory Booker called Jeff Vanderbeek a huckster. What happened there? Like, tell me what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, or I want to know like what happened in the negotiations for the World Cup.
Yeah.
Like how did that come about? Like things like that is that again, like I'm not going to
or Barry Melrose and Cory Booker going through Newark after what Barry and trying to promote the team, the arena, and all that kind of stuff. So for all you guys commenting about no politics, no politics, it's Devils related because unfortunately, I hate to break it to you, politicians get involved because arenas, the city, whatever. I would love to get the mayor on Newark because you know why? Because they have now banned tables out on Edison Place on game days. And I believe it's in response to the New Orleans terrorist attack. So I would love to get a politician's point of view, like why will we ever have it again? What kind of security, whatever, because it affects everyday Devils fans because they don't have tables to sit at. And, some people are in the opinion, does it really matter anyway? Because there's going to be people out there anyway.
Right. There's going to be 1,000 people in that corridor at all times anyway.
Yeah, and the line stretching from the tower, the Verizon Tower, I think, the entrance. Like, does it really affect anything? And plus, you've got barricades and all sorts of stuff. Again, I'm not the decision maker, but I would love to get the decision maker on. That's the point I was trying to make.
Yeah, I think people it's fine. I get it. I get why people are hesitant. We are not trying to. I don't want to talk foreign policy or the thoughts on Congress or this isn't the
national anthem. I'm done with that now. I'm over that. I'm over that.
You love a thorn bush. You just like I don't know who I need to wave my finger at more, you or my toddler, but you love to like get yourselves into these situations. And listen, like I listen to the podcast and I commend you for going in. This is what like here's the thing, Sam. Like this is why I love doing this podcast with you. Is you are not somebody who goes into an argument stoic, and I try to be the same thing. Like you can be convinced. Whether it's, you have your thoughts and your like, your determinations, but you go into it and like Shorts Guy gave you a thoughtful response. And I think, you were trying to come from I think you were trying to come from the Arlette side of it. Where we have a relationship and you are the closest of all of us with Arlette. So just trying to put yourself in her shoes, but I listened to an interview of one of the women who is, I think it was the one in Ottawa, of the woman who sang the national anthem, and she's somebody who's trying to be, and this is a lot of it. Like these are people who like this is like the first step of maybe singing in front of a crowd that size because they want to be stars, and this is somebody who wants to do that. She's a woman. She's in a wheelchair. It's like it's a very she said she's like I understand where we're going from, but. The worst thing that this did is brought publicity to my singing. And now people who are looking her up and, there's a positive that's coming out of it.
I wonder if an 8-year-old child was singing the national anthem, would these people in the crowd actually do
it? This girl was pretty young.
Yeah.
This girl was like, I mean, I'm old now, so I can't tell if somebody's 13 or in their 20s, but like, and for, whatever, like but she seemed pretty young to me, so I don't think that they cared. But again, you think of these things like, Emma Rossum, I think I say her name was the name right, the lead actress in Shameless sang the national anthem at the Prudential Center. That was one of her first like in the open famous things. Ariana Grande sang the national anthem. I think it was for the Panthers. Mm-hmm. And there's 100 million stories of these where these young people sing the national anthem for these teams and they go on to become famous. Not from that specifically, but yeah. We're a little off the rails. We had a lot of news for the Devils that we had talked about, Sam.
You want to know something? I wish I could go back in time, but I used to get free tickets to Reading Phillies games, and I might have been there years ago when Taylor Swift was like 10 years old singing the national anthem at one of those games.
Nice.
You never know. You just never know because,
right.
But I in that era, I was like, I could have been one of them because I remember going to several because, you get free tickets. Yeah, I'm going. I don't care what it is, when you're in college, so.
And at that point, it's just some random 8-year-old,
Yeah. Yeah. So, but that's why you should always be nice to everybody. But getting back to, that national anthem thing, just when Shorts Guy and I had that conversation, it was not inflammatory at all. Sometimes I come off as a troll, but like you said, if you go into a conversation and you know your stuff and you prove your point and you back it up, I respect that. And I can be convinced if it was a solid argument or a solid point, And I think we should all be open-minded like that, But still, I could still default to my whatever, but then I can be like, all right, well, I can understand the other side point of view now because I couldn't understand it before, Just because you understand it doesn't mean you have to believe in it. You know what I mean? So that's all I wanted to say about that. But moving on, transitioning into injuries, the Siegenthaler injury left the Devils with 5 D guys. They managed to pull off a victory in a shootout. Siegenthaler injury, the way he's been playing this year, the grit that he has shown, I made fun of him last year. I had no hope for him this season. He's completely turned me around the way I feel about him because that's the Siegenthaler that I was expecting. The Siegenthaler last year was just like blah, But this Siegenthaler this year, he's exactly why Tom Fitzgerald signed him to that long term contract. According to Siegenthaler, was at a discount. So I think that is. I think that's that's a big loss. It's not a significant loss, but I think it's a big loss because it's about depth and it's next man up. And right now it couldn't happen at a better time because the 2-week break is coming up. Gives these guys some time to heal.
Yeah. I mean, the Four Nations couldn't come as a better time for the Devils, just with Nico Hischier out, and at this point, I expect him to be back. I truly expect him to be back right after the Four Nations, and I kind of like when I saw there was no real update. That was my expectation. In Markstrom, I think they're going to play it safe with him a little bit, just because. Here's the thing. Your biggest competition right now is Columbus. The team I'm most worried about is obviously New York, just because of the talent on the team. They just got JT Miller. They've shown an ability to string together wins, but Columbus is as injured as anybody in the league. Losing Monahan, losing Marchenko, now losing Borensky, who is really driving the bus on this whole thing. Mm-hmm. You could see the Devils come out of that break and say, we got 6 or 7 point leader in our closest competition. Maybe we hold Markstrom out another week or two. So I'm thinking that he comes back at the end of February, early March. I don't think they'll do that with Hischier. I think Hischier is just based on like what the injury could possibly be. Like, I don't think it's a broken rib. I don't think it's like, I think it's just truly like something where it's like he has a high level of pain and it just needs to heal. So I think that it's one of those, like, if it was the playoffs, he's playing kind of things. You know what I mean? But so I think I expect him back the first game back from Four Nations. So you're only 2 more games without him. Siegenthaler, man, I don't know. What a week. Like, did you notice the ice just seemed like choppy last night?
A little bit.
Yeah, it just like it seemed like he lost an edge, but like it just didn't seem like it's almost like he slipped in a puddle, right? Like Dumoulin didn't hit him. And Siegenthaler's done that move 1,000 times, where he runs up to the blue line and throws it down the ice and then just stops. And he usually is pretty good at avoiding the big hit. I think that was also the play that Matt Rempe hurt him, right? Where he hit him with the elbow.
Yeah.
Very similar, like, play. So, like, Siegenthaler's used to this play. He's used to people coming at him at 100 miles an hour, and he's usually pretty good at avoiding it. And if a guy's not 6'7" and lays his elbow out, he can avoid it pretty well. I'm just looking at it where I think if I would have to guess, I'm thinking a high ankle sprain. But again, it's a guess. It didn't look like it was just the way it twisted was very strange. I don't love a high ankle sprain because here's the thing about Siegenthaler. Siegenthaler's been our best defenseman when you look at the totality of this situation. Kovacevic has been great, but Kovacevic is what he is because of Siegenthaler, and not the other way around. Siegenthaler is absolutely thriving in this system. He's doing exactly what Sheldon Keefe needs him to do. So you look at all the options. There's really 2 directions that you can go in if you're the Devils, outside of making a trade. You can either hope that Santeri Hataka is ready to go. And I think Hataka's a good defenseman. He's not Siegenthaler, so you just accept the drop-off. You put him on the left side. You keep everyone together. You ask a little bit more of Brendan Dillon, which is going to come with varied results. And you hope that just works out. If you put Dillon in like a role that makes a little bit more sense for him, that like maybe he'll step up and make fewer mistakes. I just think that he was prone to mistakes with Hamilton. I just don't think that pairing worked. I think he's better on other pairings. So if you put him with a Kovacevic, I think that works better. And then you put Hataka with, you either put him with Hamilton or you put him with, I think it makes the most sense to put him with Pesci. And then you put Luke Hughes with Hamilton, and you kind of go at this just, can I say balls to the wall? Well, I said it. So this balls to the wall approach where you accept the mistakes of Hamilton and Hughes together, but you know that the results are going to outweigh the mistakes, and you're going to get more offense from it, which you desperately need. And then Hataka and Pesci are just like your bottom pair line. Play them 13 minutes a game. They give you a little bit. Pesci can play this offensive game that he's been trying to play all season, but has been just kind of weirdly like avoiding. And you just say Hataka like protect. And Hataka's been good at that in the past, where he'll understand his role, and he just knows that like I need to be what's the word I'm looking for? Like a average. That's such a negative word, but like just a. I don't want to say replacement level either, but just be a guy.
I got
I
a
don't
good
want
word that's unique. He wants to be the status quo guy.
Yeah, just be the. I don't want to remember your name.
Yep.
I want you to do your job, and that's it. You know what I mean? So, and every so often that comes with like maybe stopping a 2-on-1, maybe like you're back in the right position. But again, I just want you to break the play up before it happens. The other option is to call up Nemitz. Call up Simon Nemitz, and Brett Pesci at one point played with Dougie Hamilton, so you can have that as a pairing. Put Pesci on the left side; he'll be fine. And then you put Nemitz with. I would. I don't know. Are you putting Nemitz with Dylan? Or are you putting Nemitz with Pesci?
Good question. I would put Nemitz with Dylan.
Yeah, I don't love the pairings. I know a lot of people are going to want to put Luke Hughes and Nemitz, and I just don't love it right now for what you need.
It's all about Nemitz's development. He's coming up on an emergency basis at this point.
And that's my other issue. That's my other issue is, are you going to bring him up to send him down again?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, are you going to send him down in 6 weeks, which includes the Four Nations? And during that Four Nations trip, are you sending him down again? Like, here's the thing about getting sent down for the Four Nations trip is you take a pay cut. And we talked about this.
Yep.
Like, you're going to bring him up for 2 games where he's making $900,000 a year. So, divide that by 52. He's basically getting $150,000 for those 2 games. And then he can continue to get. I don't remember if they get paid weekly or by game check, which would impact everything here. I think they get paid by game check, actually.
I think so. Yeah.
I just don't know how that works. With, like, would he make more money by going down, or would he make less money? That's one of those things that's above my pay grade.
I would think that he'd make more in the NHL.
By playing no games in the NHL and just waiting for the break than they would playing games in the AHL?
I mean, if he doesn't play a game, he still gets paid NHL if he's with the big club.
But how does that work? Because you pay taxes based on where you're playing the game.
2 separate entities. You get two different. I don't know if they do 1099 or W-2s.
I was gonna say maybe there's a stipend.
Could be
an NHL stipend for these breaks. I'm not really sure how it works. Either way, I think again this back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Like, I just don't think it's good. I don't think that's good for his development. I think that was the mistake they made with Alex Holtz, where they just stayed on this weird trajectory where he he was a quadruple A player. For those who aren't like familiar with the reference, in baseball, if you're a guy who's too good for the minors but not good enough for Major League Baseball, I call you a quadruple A player. And it's really hard. Like a lot of those players could turn into good MLB players, and sometimes once in a while it turns into a star, but the development has to hit right on the head. And like I think everybody can agree that Simone Nemeth is good enough to be in the NHL, but is he a good NHL player? And I don't know about that because he wasn't in the beginning of the season, but he's been dominant in the NHL over like the last I want to say 2 months, maybe since like the middle of December.
And that's consistency because he had a bad start, and
Right.
you alluded to the injury that he had before preseason. So
Right.
you may have been right on that. Most likely right on that one.
Or it was just, it takes a certain ego to just put everything to the side and say, I'm getting sent down. And just ignore that ego. Like, we want these, like, truly, like, we'd rather athletes just be robots and have no opinion, have no emotions, not let, like, I can go to my day-to-day 9-to-5 job in an office and be mad about not getting a promotion or being mad about, something my boss said or a client or whatever. Like, I could do that because I'm a human being, but we don't want our athletes to have those feelings, and it's not the reality. So I think that was part of it. You're kind of like, well, why am I here? I commend the kid, whether it was the injury and he recovered or it was, whatever. Like the feelings that he had about being in the AHL, he's by far made the most of it. To turn what he started his season with and to become an AHL All-Star, and he looked really good in that game or in those festivities. I think he hit every target in the accuracy shooting competition, which is amazing for a defenseman. I love that. Mm-hmm. I just think he's a guy who I think is. I just think he's going to keep getting better. Is he going to be a superstar in this league? I don't think so. But I think he's going to be a fantastic, like one of the best second line guys. Like somebody who you think of when you think of there's a lot of bad examples that I'm trying to avoid. Like I used to really like Nick Hjalmarsson in Chicago. Mm-hmm. They just play very different games, so it's not a great example. It's just the impact I'm talking about. Like, who's the guy who's in Tampa right now? He was in Tampa. They traded him to Nashville. He's back in Tampa. He used to be on the Rangers. Help me out here, Sam.
Oh, why did you do that? I don't know.
But it's a guy you like a top of the line second line guy is what I'm talking about. Like somebody who's Devin Tays in Colorado. I think Devin Tays is like the ceiling that you're thinking of with Nemeth, but somebody in that ilk, right? You're not the best guy on the team. That's going to be Luke Hughes, and for now it's Dougie Hamilton and Siegenthaler's in that conversation. But like as dependable as can be, can provide offense, and I think that, but you got to get it right.
McDonough,
right?
Jason,
McDonough.
Yeah, because I was getting mixed up with the other guy, but he retired. What was the other guy? There was another guy that went down, starts with the C, that went to the Tampa Bay Lightning via
Cernak.
No, there was Joe Girardi. Did he go to that?
Dan Girardi.
Dan Girardi. Yeah, sorry, Joe Girardi.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was another. Oh, there was another guy. Oh, what's his name? I forgot, but he's no longer playing in the NHL.
Anyway, I think you guys get the idea of what I'm getting at, but I think you just got to get this right. He got like his next move is his most important move for his development, so you got to get it right. And I think that pressure kind of might make them lean on Hitaka at first. Like, I might even think, and the Devils fans are going to hate this, but I think you can see them start with Colton White for a game, play him like 6 minutes, and then let Hitaka get his conditioning stint in, play in the AHL through the Four Nations, and then survive 2 games with White, and then Hitaka comes up after the Four Nations, and he plays through until Siegenthaler gets back.
Mm-hmm.
Because then, like, listen, this solves a lot of problems because Hitaka, again, is waivers. He's waivers eligible. So to get him to play in the AHL, every team in the league can take him for free. I don't think he's making it through waivers. He's 24 years old, so you also got this component of show me what you are at this point kind of thing.
I got the two Ryans mixed up. McDonough, the guy I was thinking was Callahan, if you remember.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Just forgot.
Yeah. So that's where I am. He got to get this right if it's Nemitz. But I also understand, like, you're staring at a situation where, like, every point kind of matters. It doesn't matter as much as it did before last night. Columbus lost, Carolina lost. You got 2 points. It's also like Washington's kind of running away with this.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you want if you're the Devils? Like, do you think Carolina, New Jersey is kind of like it really stinks if you're both of those teams.
Well, if I were the New Jersey Devils, I want to get healthy by mid-March.
Sure.
Healthy. Because and you don't want to peak now. Right now, everything that's bad that has happened to the Devils, you want to happen now.
Right.
And then somewhere along
you want to go on a run.
You want to go on a run mid-March to the rest of the season, feeling good about yourself. Who cares about the seeding? You just want to feel good about yourself. And then when you get into the playoffs, game on.
Right. Yeah, you want to get hot at the right time, and this is not the right time.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, like, you want to hope that getting hot wasn't December, because they were hot as all heck in December. But I think you can do that again. I think, again, I tell everybody, there are ebbs and flows of the season. It goes up and down and up and down, no matter who you are. If you're the Panthers, if you're the Devils, if you're the Rangers, if you're the Seattle Kraken, there are ebbs and flows. Before we go, though, because I know we're coming close to the end, I do want to talk about Timo Meier. Because I wrote an article yesterday that opened my eyes to a few things. I know Timo Meier has been better than his statistics say that he's been.
Yes, he has been.
I could see his impact. I don't think I realized how impactful he's been. The Devils have been kind of a power play merchant team for like the past month and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't been getting a lot of finishing at 5-on-5. I didn't realize that. So I'm not the biggest fan of XG, which is expected goals. It's kind of like war in baseball. It's just like kind of there. Nobody really only the smartest people in the world know how to calculate it, and then they can't explain it. But it exists, and a lot of people swear by it. Timo Meier leads the league in individual expected goals scored at even strength. He's expected to have 15 goals at even strength. And nobody in the league has that many. I think second is Zach. I think it's Zach Hyman.
Shaq Hyman?
Yeah. He's second in the league in individual chances. That's a much easier statistic to swallow. Zach Werenski has more chances of all kinds, whether they're in deep or far away. Only Zach Werenski has more individual chances than Timo Meier at 5-on-5. basically even strength. This dude is snake bitten. He's just having the worst luck. And like again, I think we talked about it last week podcasts. Sometimes you got to talk about luck because of all the sports. I think hockey is the most prone to good and bad luck.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about it being a game of inches. Football, I guess, technically is a game of inches, but it's really like it's a game of referees because like the referees decide where those inches are. Baseball is a game of inches in per se that like if you hit the ball like an inch or two higher or lower, like it's a home run against an out or a strikeout.
Mm-hmm.
But in baseball, you're more in control of those inches. And then in basketball, I don't really think it's a game of inches at all. But in hockey, like you're really talking about like the puck just randomly hits things. It clips off boards and like flies into the middle of the ice. It knocks off skates. It's literally just like a small piece of condensed rubber sliding on an ice sheet. And there's just a level of luck that comes with that. Timo Meier truly should be on a 40-goal pace this year. And he's not even like I don't even know what he's on. I don't think he's on a 30-goal pace. I think he's on like a 25-goal pace, which admittedly not good enough. I get it. He needs to score more goals. But like even last night, he had the best chance on that 4-minute power play where he rocketed past the name of the goalie is escaping me. It doesn't matter. He rocketed past the Penguins goalie, hit the post. Hit the inside of the post, it still flew out. You know, like he's an inch off here. But then when Sam, that shootout goal, is there any goalie in the National Hockey League who's stopping that? That shot in the shootout was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It was going 100 miles an hour, and it was bar down in the corner. It waited until the perfect second when it was Nedeljkovic, I think. Nedeljkovic moved at the perfect time. He waited him out, but every goalie is going to make that move. And he just rocketed past him so fast that like Nedeljkovic had no chance. I think that was the perfect shot. And that's what Meier's capable of. I don't know why it took Sheldon Keefe 7 guys to get to Meier to win the game, but Meier won the game. I think with everything going on with Meier right now, that goal, even though it doesn't count on his score sheet, I think that goal is going to put a rocket in that dude's skates. I think Meier is going to lose his mind for the rest of this month going into March. I think he's going to be the guy that, like, and I think he's going to, like, you know, Jack Hughes was really good again last night. Jack Hughes, we were talking about a couple of weeks ago that I think there was something wrong with him. I think somebody just had a conversation with him and it kind of messed his mental. And he's back to being the guy that he needs to be. He scored 2 goals last night. One was kind of fluky, but the other one was a Jack Hughes goal. But Meier, I think Meier's about to go nuts. I think he's going to go nuts. And that'll help this offense so much. Like we won't have to worry about as much as we talk about the bottom 6, do you know who are the guys right now since Christmas? And this doesn't count last game. So Hughes might be here now, but before last game, do you know who are the guys who have led the team in even strength goals since Christmas?
Dawson Mercer?
He's one of them. Mercer and Paul Cotter.
Oh, yeah. Paul Cotter.
Those are the two guys leading our team in 5-on-5 goals since the Christmas break. And, we talk about secondary scoring. Well, it's kind of there. The problem is you're not getting supreme scoring out of until recently. You're not getting supreme scoring out of Jack Hughes. You're still not getting supreme scoring out of Jesper Bratt. Nico Hischier is now on the shelf, and Timo Meier hasn't been finishing. And Andre Palat is back to being kind of meh. Stefan Nason hasn't been scoring nearly as much, although he's a very opportune scorer now. He doesn't score in volume, but he scores like he scored the overtime goal a couple weeks ago. Like he scores when the Devils really need it. But Cotter and Mercer have been the consistent scorers. Although we're talking about I think they have 5 goals since Christmas at even strength. So it's not like we're talking about double digits here. It's a relatively low amount. Just kind of shows how the Devils' offense has dried up. I don't, but if I'm the Devils, and you get Timo Meier of San Jose, which I think he could be. He was like that last year in March. I think then really you just look at it. You're like, I need one guy at the deadline. Tyler Toffoli type is really what you're looking for. I think the guy, the prices are just insane right now that people think that they can get. I would love Rickard Rakell. I think he'd be great. He looked amazing last night. He scored a goal for the Devils. It was kind of funny. But he technically put 3 pucks in the net last night, 2 by kicking them, and then 1 he scored on the Devils. I think he looks fantastic. I think he'd look great in the top 6, push everybody down. Really smart move. I just think the Penguins are asking for the moon and stars for everybody on their team right now. Would I love Brock Nelson? Sure. I think that price, I don't think Lou Lamoriello ever wants to lose a trade to the Devils.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he'll ever sell to the Devils, if I'm being honest. But also the Islanders think they're back in this, so I don't even know if Brock Nelson's available. But those are the types of guys you're looking at. I would love Connor Garland from Vancouver. I just don't think he's available. I think they're going to try to keep him and try to trade maybe a Brock Besser, who, again, don't want to pay the price for Brock Besser. I think Brock Besser's a really good player. I just think he's going to cost 9-ish. He's going to cost Sam Reinhart money this offseason. I just don't want to pay that. And then he's going to cost an arm and a leg at the deadline. Let somebody else pay that. I said a lot of things. I do want to ask you one thing before we go, but I want to give you a chance to respond.
Respond to what?
I laid out a bunch of different things. Just want to see it. If you don't have a thought, I do have something I want your opinion on.
I did have a thought, but I forgot.
Okay. I think we've done this before, but it just came out from the 4th period. Dave Pagnotta, that Trevor Zegras is available. Would you be happy if that was the move? If they got Zegras?
No. Because it just makes Jack happy. What's the goal of what would be the point?
He
of
scores. Scores goals.
Scores. You know what the Devils need? They need a big center on the 3rd line. And I'm thinking Braden Shen in St. Louis. Leadership, size, centerman, affordability. That's what the Devils need.
Yeah, that's not a bad move. I'll be honest, I haven't looked at Shen. Is he a free agent after this year?
I don't know. I'm thinking before trade deadline.
Yeah.
You make a move. Now, if you made a move like that and then you brought Zegras, okay, I think he will complement. But you got to address your needs first. Unless there's a Quinn Hughes or a Brady Tkachuk, on the block, of course, who cares about needs?
Right.
But, I think you have to shore up that bottom 6. Now, again, things all got screwed up when that thing happened last year around this time that's non-hockey related. I don't want to talk about that. So now it's like there's been that void from a hockey standpoint for the New Jersey Devils. And, Tom Fitzgerald tried to, mitigate it by, the offseason. Nico Hischier, I think, has been a better face-off man since then. I think Jack Hughes has been. I think, they put it.
Only way to go is up for him from last year.
Yeah. So, but I think the rest of the team has tried to fill that void because it was ridiculous on face-offs, what McLeod brought to the table. But right now, you got to move on. And I think the Devils need a
Hollow
centerman.
was also great last year.
Yeah.
He's good this year. Or not last year.
Well, I think,
whatever it was.
Look, if Holla, Palat, and Timo Meyer step it up, like absolutely step it up the second half of the season, the Devils are going to have no problems. I think right now, if you bring in a Braden Shen on that third line, and you got a big centerman, leadership. Remember, leadership's been there, done that. I think that will serve this young team pretty well. Over having Travis Zegras.
I think you had Travis Zajac on the mind. It's Trevor Zegras. The T and the Z it flipped you up.
Yeah.
I really liked what I saw out of Eric Hall last night. I obviously didn't like how he played the wraparound. I know a lot of people are stuck on that, probably think he played terribly, but he had more chances than anybody on the team last night. He gets into those positions. He knows how to get to high danger areas, and he can make a move that's like a savvy move that opens up space for him. We saw it with where he I forget who made the pass to him. Maybe it was Tatar. But he was racing towards the net. He got the pass. He got to tip the puck. That was when they went on 4-4. I don't really know what he did wrong that caused the 4-4, but in normal days, that's gonna lead to a penalty. But I liked what I saw out of him. He definitely looked better than he did before. Before he just looked feckless. And just kind of there. This time he looked like he had a role. He was impactful. He brought a spark, which is kind of what you want from Holla. And that's why Holla earned the 3-year deal. It's because there was a spark to how he was playing the game. He was winning faceoffs. He was just kind of driving play. And I saw that again last night. And I agree with you. If you get that out of him, if you get what we saw to Meyer and what we've seen from him over the past couple of weeks, and if we get, I don't even know what to say to get from Palat. I just don't know. He's just an inconsistent player at this point of his career. He's going to go where he gets 6 goals in 3 weeks sometimes, and he's going to go where he doesn't score for a month. It's just kind of what he is. You just hope that 6-goal run comes in the playoffs. But he still has great instincts. So you're almost annoyed by it, right? Because he's on that first line because he causes turnovers. At one point he led the team in takeaways. I don't know if he still does. I'd have to look at it, but you need a guy who's going to gain possession for Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt. Let them do their thing. But that's kind of simmered. You also need a guy who's going to get to dirty areas and score clutch goals. Again, kind of simmered for Palat. So if you get Meyer, Palat, and Holla going, and I'm not asking them to score 10 goals in the next month, but maybe Meyer. But the other two, if I get 4 goals out of each of them from now until the middle of March, I think I'm satisfied with that. If you get the same Mercer where he's going to score 3 or 4 in that time, if I get the same Cotter where he's going to score 3 and 4 at that time, and then I get Jack and Bratt being those 2 guys, and you get Nico Hischier back, then I think you're in good shape. Then I think you're going to be you're going to solidify your playoff spot, and you're going to make they're going to make some kind of move. I have no doubt that the Devils are making a trade this year. it just makes too much sense. They have too many prospects. They have, 3 second-round picks, and they have a hole. And it's a hole at forward, which is a lot easier to fill than a hole at defense or goalie. So they're making a move. I just, it's hard to figure out who it's going to be. Because the guys who got traded, I didn't want JT Miller. I really didn't. There's a lot going on there. And it's a long commitment. I don't think they have the right pieces to get Mikko Rantanen. I don't think Dawson Mercer is equal to Martin Necas. And you're not trading Nico Hischier for him. Yeah. So I just don't think they have the right piece for that. But if I'm the Devils, I'm looking at them just I don't know. I don't know what's next. So there's a lot going on there.
Definitely a lot going on there. Well, Nick, you got to start plugging pucksandpitchforks.com.
Okay. Pucksandpitchforks.com. We have so much going on at pucksandpitchforks.com. There's articles from so many different people. Listen, I'm going to talk about the trade deadline so much until I'm blue in the face. We're going to have a preview of the Four Nations face-off coming out. That's going to be really fun to talk about. We have articles from Marcy Rubin coming out soon. We have articles from Jenny Streeter coming out soon. We have articles from Charlie Borges Jr. Coming out soon. Charlie Borges Jr. also did the retrospective of the Ilya Kovalchuk trade, which just had its 15th anniversary, which makes probably both of us feel very old. That was yesterday. And then I did, Sam, a what if on what if the Devils never traded for Kovalchuk at all? I've done in the past what if Kovalchuk never left and stayed a Devil this whole time, what would have happened? But I did the story of what if Kovalchuk was never traded to the Devils? It's a weird retrospective, Sam, because there's no real replacement. There wasn't a lot of star power that happened that got traded after for a full year until I think the Rick Nash trade, which was almost 2 years later. There was just not a lot of superstar trade. There was guys who looking back, I guess maybe at the time Nathan Horton, that felt like big trades, but there was no lockdown superstar, state of superstar trade like the Kovalchuk, the Rick Nash, some of those other trades. So it's almost I think that Lou Lamoriello would have wanted to make a trade that year, but I don't know who else it could have been. I was looking at articles from back then of trade rumors, and the only guy that got brought up was Nash because he's been in, but he was always in trade rumors, right? And he never moved because he liked it in Columbus.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those. I don't know. It was such an interesting what if to write, because if the Devils never make the Kovalchuk trade, does Vanderbeek ever have to sell the team? Because the NHL was pissed at him after that and kind of held his feet to the fire. So does Vanderbeek own the team today? They don't get Nico Hischier and Jack Hughes. What does the team look like today? Does Lou Lamoriello ever leave the Devils and go to the Maple Leafs? There's they probably don't go to the 2012 Stanley Cup Final. What does that do to Martin Brodor's legacy? There's so many tentacles to the story. It was really fun to talk about and to kind of give everybody just kind of retrospective of imagine if this didn't happen. There are some serious negatives that come with Kovalchuk, but there's a lot of fill in the blanks that the Devils really needed that 2012 final run just to solidify themselves.
They did. And you can get that on pucksandpitchforks.com.
We got new articles every single day. Just keep going there. Go there every day. Twice a day, 3 times a day, 10 times a day.
Yeah. Should I plug now?
Yeah.
Yeah, programming note, I will not be at American Whiskey tomorrow. Got some things going on, so but we'll still have Game Day Live and Devils After Dark.
We're also getting snow.
Yeah, we're getting snow. Yeah, that's part of the reason why. I know it's not going to snow in in the evening, but with the day job, everything gets screwed up. So I don't know if I can actually make it. So rather than struggle, I'll just go preemptive. But we will have Game Day Live and Devils After Dark tomorrow. Also at The Point as well, at The Point Podcast. Beforehand, I also want to plug that on February 15th at Wayne Ale House in Wayne, New Jersey, 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern, Brian Rafalski autograph signing. Vic's Devils All Day, All Night crew is going to be there. Vic's organizing that event. He invited us, the Let's Go Devils podcast, to be there. So we'll be live from the venue. And more details forthcoming. We haven't put it out on social media, but figure start to drip it right now. Brian Rafalski, Stanley Cup champion back in 2000, 2003, and I believe with the Detroit Red Wings in 2007, I think. So definitely see us at Wayne Ale House in beautiful Wayne, New Jersey. All right, Nick. Well, it's going to be a good time. It's going to be definitely a good time.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah, something to do in the 2 weeks of no Devils hockey.
Yeah. At least we'll see Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt play.
Yeah, I would love to see how Team USA, how they play, because you've got a lot of Kachucks.
Yeah.
Hughes.
There's a lot of personality there. Matthews.
Oh, yeah. Personality. Eat pork chops and apple sauce. Remember that? Brady Bunch?
Yeah.
Anyway. Alrighty. Well, I will say thank you all those that are tuning in. Dropping the podcast at midnight. Till next time, let's go Devils.